Beautiful.
I'll admit I had no clue today's game, the Chronicles of Riddick Assault on Dark Athena, even existed when it just happened to pop up on a Steam sale back in 2009. So I took a gamble and picked it up, recalling a little bit from the two movies and that there was some other game in the past, one that a friend had shown me a demo of because he thought the real-time shadows were cool for 2004. I didn't realize at the time that Dark Athena also includes that previous game, Escape from Butcher Bay, making for a whole heck of a lot to cover in this video review.
Prisoner walking! Alright, pay attention, punk. You are now Butcher Bay prisoner 5421135-2.
Butcher Bay follows your time in the slam of the same name. Your first order of business, of course, is to escape. This is a long and tedious process that involves talking to people for help.
I don't do favors, but tell me anyway.
Sneaking around through vents and dark passages, stealing equipment, and killing lots and lots of unsuspecting guards, generally in the most gruesome way possible.
Listen, there's no outside at Butcher's, just a whole planet of desert. So check those desires right now, because you will not get out. No one has, no one ever will.
Nothing in life is easy in a max security slam, especially for those standing in the way of Riddick's escape. But sometimes they do have the upper hand. You see, most of Butcher Bay restricts you from using any firearms, instead limiting you to your fists and a few other melee weapons, which suits Riddick just fine. This makes melee combat a huge part of the game, and as a result, it's a fairly deep system. The option to aim your attacks by combining directional keys with your attack to change where they come from and what kind of punch you throw. The mitigating effects of blocking attacks which can completely negate damage or just reduce it if your enemy is a heavy hitter or armed with a weapon. And the counter system which takes an opponent's attack and turns it back on himself, even if that attack was a guard taking a swing at you with his shotgun. This is how you survive most of the game.
You may have survived this time, Riddick, but to get somewhere, you're gonna have to fight and win.
I only say most because the rest of the time you are armed and even more dangerous. Sometimes that takes the form of giving you the choice between shooter fest or practicing a bit of deception, while other times you have no option but to shoot until you run out of ammo, and still other portions of the game have you strapped into a mech razing everything in sight. There is one other thing you'll have to do to progress in this game, besides sneaking around undetected or shooting whatever moves, and that thing is quests. Well, technically they are missions, but some of them feel more like they belong in an MMO than an action game. Missions range from killing members of a certain gang, to poisoning someone's food so they'll pay their debts, to finding someone's missing item. To be fair, most of the missions are side missions, and completing them may not unlock anything more than bonus content on the main menu, but there are some that you absolutely must do if you want to continue on the main mission, such as acquiring a needle and a moth for a junkie who will then give you the drugs you need to get pinched by a pair of guards that are more eager to frisk you than your local TSA agent.
He's clean. Get out of here.
When you put it all together, mixing 2 parts stealth with 1 part spray and pray, seasoned with a dash of RPG, you get the gameplay mix that is Butcher Bay, which in and of itself is a pretty good game. The different gameplay genres are evenly distributed, so it's not like you fall into any one playstyle for too long. For example, after sneaking through the mines for most of the middle of the game, silently taking out guards and searching for someone that might be able to get you off planet, you gain control of a riot mech, and it's game on. That doesn't last forever though, and so you go back to sneaking around, hiding in the dark, using Riddick's recently acquired night vision eyes to become the ultimate predator.
Darkness. You afraid? I'm not. The dark is afraid of me.
Now, Dark Athena is a bit different. One of the first things you'll notice is that the game is much faster paced, as the ratio between action and stealth has changed. It's more like 50-50 this time around. While before you were prevented from taking any guard's weapon by a DNA lock that would hurt you if you attempted to pick it up, the primary enemy you encounter in Dark Athena is a drone, the result of hacking up a person and cramming their head full of control circuits, then fusing a weapon to their mutilated bodies. Which means the mercs on Dark Athena are good people.
This
This is a slave ship. I don't think they give a damn about the Union leaders or protocols.
The plus side to this is you can, after you kill a drone or even as you kill one, grab their gun arm and fire until the clip runs out. While you can't take them with you and they don't last very long, these drones provide a more immediate access to a firearm than you'd find in Butcher Bay. And it does help if you'd rather not take the time to try and stealth kill every enemy you come across. This difference between the two games is amplified further by the earlier access to the tranquilizer gun, an item available in both games. The tranquilizer gun is a single-shot weapon with unlimited ammo, which briefly stuns an enemy, causing a human to fall to the ground or disabling a drone. In both cases, you can quickly close the distance to the target and then finish them off with a slice of your ulox or a stomp to the face. The tranq gun has the added bonus of being able to destroy most light sources, making stealth an easier option than it might otherwise be, if you're into that sort of thing. Another way in which Dark Athena differs from its predecessor is that the developers all but dropped side missions. There are still, if my count is right, 3 in the game, besides those that are necessary to complete your ultimate goal of getting off this slave ship. And all but one of those is easily completed along your progression path, with the final one, which does require a few minutes of exploration and backtracking, being the only way to unlock the sniper rifle. The result is that the game flows much better than the starts and stops of Butcher Bay, which has a particularly dull stretch around 25% of the way into the game that consists mostly of side missions and lots of talking. Don't get me wrong, there is still plenty of talking in this game, but that mostly comes in the form of character development, as you foster relationships with a few other captives, as well as the ship's captain, the insidious Revis, who wants nothing more than to see you dead.
Aw, come on now, Riddick. Let's just turn over a new leaf. What do you say? Let's keep an open dialogue between us. Well, a monologue, really, since, well, you can't really talk back, can you?
Yet another difference between the two games is the wider selection of weaponry in Dark Athena. Before, you were limited to a handgun, shotgun, and assault rifle, as well as the temporary chain gun very late in the game. This time around, you'll encounter an SMG, sniper rifle, and my favorite, the Scar gun, which is basically a sticky grenade launcher that comes in handy for some of those big enemies, like him, because there are just some times when your ulox won't do. Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. The final difference that I'd like to mention is the change in level design. The first game consists mostly of tighter spaces with side paths, usually in the form of vents, that sometimes let you get around an area or get into better position to take out a guard. You'll also notice about halfway through Butcher Bay how well designed the levels are, because you can essentially make a large circular path through the game and never realize it, though there are some critical shortcuts you'll want to keep an eye out for. A lot of this goes away in Dark Athena, because suddenly the levels are much more open. Instead of needing a vent to get around an enemy, you can just sneak through the containers in the cargo hold of the ship and still remain undetected, if for some reason you don't want to kill everything. At other times, you'll find that there are multiple platforms you can climb around on, using an elevation difference to your advantage. And at yet other points, the developers must just have felt like showing off by making you scurry along ledges and high platforms to progress further. In both games, though, it does pay to explore, since that is how you'll find most of the bonus content or other important things, like extra health boosts. If you happen to be a fan of the Riddick movies, know that there are some pretty good tie-ins with Riddick's background, though there is some debate as to how much of it is canon. You'll learn about how Riddick got his trademark eyes and weapons, as well as see his relationship with Johns, who was in the first movie and is voiced by that actor, develop. Or just see Riddick's way with children.
That monster's gonna be with you till the day you die. Don't be afraid of it. In time you'll understand how to use it. Control it. Harness it. Unleash it.
I can be a monster too.
So if you're looking for a game where you sneak up on enemies and crush their throats with your forearm, kill the lights, then kill the guards, use your dead drone enemies as shields while sending whatever is left in their last clip back towards their buddies or the humans controlling them, interspersed with periods where you run wild in a mech, mow down weird shark-like aliens in the dark, or fight off behemoths with your sticky grenade launcher, then just maybe the Chronicles of Riddick is for you. Look to pick it up around $15, since you do get 2 really good games for that price, and about 20 hours of game time to beat both of them on normal, which is pretty substantial for an action game, one that's worthy of an 8 out of 10.
In the end, everybody bleeds the same.
I could have had you.
If it's any consolation, you were better than average. So that's something.